everyone, and welcome to Club 3, episode 31 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM, and welcome to Party Day at the end of the season. Derby County, well secure in the Premier League, sitting in 12th place, can't lose that 12th place, possibly could finish 11th, one game to go against Norwich, and we have secured our place in the Premier League for next season, and we've done it quite comfortably. So the last time you and I were together was against Brighton. We then got a 2-0 win against Sheffield United, which secured us our Premier League survival. At that point, we only needed a point and we got 3. So that was it. That was it done. We played against Man City and lost, which is what you expect. They've since become the champions, and they became the champions because we beat Liverpool. And when we beat Liverpool, that handed City the title. Liverpool were their closest contenders, and we beat them. We went in with our defensive tactic, as we did with Man City, and on the Liverpool match at home, it worked. And we got a 76-minute winner, and never really looked like we were going to lose the game, to be honest. It was a decent performance, whereas Man City, we were quite lucky to come away just 1-0. Against Liverpool, we did very well, and we came up with a 1-0 win. And what that has meant is that we are sitting in 12th place. You can see that Liverpool dropped down when we beat them, and therefore Man City took the title, which was incredible. And ultimately, we are secure for next season. Premier League football is ours, and we will quite happily take it. We are got one more game against Norwich to play. They've done very well this season. They're in 7th currently. Looks like that's where they're going to stay. Yes, it is. So they can't change. But if we better the Palace result, we could potentially jump ahead of them in the table and finish 11th. And that would be amazing. To finish top of the bottom half of the table, as it were, would be brilliant. So let's see if we can do that. Before we do that, though, let's go and just check in with the squad a little bit. Bazunu's come back from a bit of a knock he's had recently, but he's perfectly fit to play for the last game of the season. You can see that John Clark is also out injured. He comes back tomorrow to full training, but has been out for a little while. He won't play today. And but that's the only other injury. You can also see that Crowley has got himself a transfer, and he's joining Herenveen in the summer. He just got to the point where he didn't feel he had much more to contribute to this squad, and I kind of agreed. So we sorted out a transfer for him. Not a big one, a couple of £1 million or whatever it is. Fairly simple deal, and that's happening in the summer. So if we just go through this main 11 a little bit, there's a few in this sort of the substitutes, the reserves list that will probably leave. I'm not sure Gilbert will be here or Sibley. Crowley definitely won't. So there's a few that will be moving on in the summer. But what about this first 11 of ours? Well, Ida has done very well. If we go and check out the competitions page, you can see that if we go in, he's 3rd in the list now for goals scored. He's basically stuck in and around the 12-13 area that he was on last episode, and so have the other two. So nobody's really improved. Today, if he could get a couple of goals, he might take that. So there's no reason for us to get rid of Ida from our number 1 striking position unless we find somebody that's got such good quality. But you can see that he's a decent striker, and what he's got is he's got pace and acceleration to burn, good determination and composure, good finishing. So there's some key attributes that are really positive, and he's done very well for us this season. So he will hopefully be here next season. He's not worth a huge amount of money, is he really, for somebody 3rd in the Premier League goal scoring charts? But there you go, that's the way it is. So he should still be around next summer. Audran, not so sure about him. We took him in on loan. You can see he's only got a couple of goals for us. Hasn't been as successful as I liked. He's been a decent deputy to Ida, but not brilliant. So I suspect he'll probably go back to PSG, and we'll look elsewhere to try and fill that spot with a permanent deal somewhere. Similarly with Murray, I'm not sure that we'll be keeping him on. He hasn't set the world on fire enough. He's a very, very good young talent at 21. But I think we're probably looking for a permanent deal again now to sort of move our squad forward. So there's a couple of the loans. Same with Burns at Man City. Burns, I suspect he's going to go back and try and stake a claim there. So we'll probably lose out on him. I'd like to keep him around if possible, but if not, it doesn't really matter at this point. We need to fill those spots with more permanent signings, I would suggest. So, those are the loan signings. In terms of the rest of this main squad, I think we could probably do with a better right back. Matheson has done well. Guilbert has come out the side in recent weeks, and so Matheson has done very well, but I'd quite like an upgrade if I can find one. I think the two central defenders are decent, but if we don't have Burns, maybe we need to find a number one central defender to put into the side and move one of these into a reserve position, possibly. I'm happy with Target. I think Joku's done very well. Noel and the new guy, Scott, who I'm hoping for an awful lot more from next season. He hasn't really played too much for us because he hasn't been able to show that he's got the quality yet. But I still think there's a reasonable player in here. His mental attributes are the problem. So we'll give him a chance next season and see what happens with that. But Noel has improved an awful lot this season. As a 19-year-old, you can see he's going to be an absolute star. 27 million he's rated at the moment. I don't think we'll be able to hold on to him for too long, to be honest. But we'll try and do that over the summer at least and take him into next season. And so Joku's fine, Noel is fine. Vera has done pretty well for us, although his assists aren't as high as I'd like them to be. But what we have got is the opportunity next season, potentially, to move Silas into that position if Vera isn't playing. I think at 19, he's improving a lot as well. You see, he's got some gaps in his technicals specifically, but some very good attributes around the place. So I think he'll be helpful to us next season. So if those two are still here next season, I think that's not too bad. Martinez has done fairly well for us, much better than he did last season, if you remember. Got 4 goals and 8 assists, which isn't too bad. You can see he's had a bit of a dip recently, but other than that, I think he's worth having around. But because Crowley is now leaving, and I suspect we'll also be getting rid of Sibley as well, because he just doesn't have the attributes anymore to cope with this level of football, then we might be looking to bring in a number one attacking midfielder, possibly. We'll see. And use Martinez as backup, maybe. So that's another one to check out in the summer. Loku Doku has done pretty well for us. Again, some of these average ratings aren't particularly good, but in the context of where we've finished in the league, they've done excellent. And he's got 5 goals and 5 assists for us so far this season, which is great. At 24, he's still got plenty more to give. But again, with Murray leaving the club probably and going back to his parent club, maybe we look to find a new guy for the left-hand side that could challenge Loku Doku more for his first team spot. We'll have to wait and see. So there's plenty to think about for next season and plenty for the summer to provide us some entertainment with. And it all just becomes about what happens with our finances, really. You can see that we've got a reasonable amount to play about with in terms of our player wages, but our transfer budget at this point isn't particularly strong, and we'll see what we get given at the end of the season. So we'll check out that at the end of this particular match and see what happens. But yeah, hopefully we get a reasonable budget, because I think there's some stuff we need to do in terms of just moving this club forward continually. In terms of the goalkeepers, that's the only other position I didn't really talk about. I think they're both fine. Bazunu's done pretty well, and Decker is a reasonable replacement. If we can find an absolute gem somewhere, we'll always look for them. But I think Bazunu specifically has done very well for us, so I'm perfectly happy for him to stay. So yeah, there's some thoughts for the summer transfer window, but for today, it's all about celebrating the fact that we stayed in the Premier League very comfortably. 12th place, possibly 11th today, depending on our result against Norwich and what Palace do in their game. So for today's game against Norwich, this absolute party atmosphere of no pressure on us whatsoever. We've done the job. Is Bazunu in goal, Matheson at right back, Target at left back, Story and Harwood Bellis in central defence, with Joku, Vera and Martinez in central midfield, with Noel on the right, Loku Doku on the left and Ida up top, with a bench of Burns, Cooper, May, Silas, Scott, Murray and Audran. So let's get into this last game of the season and see what happens. So I've just asked them really just to go out and pull off an upset, really. Just go and show them that we're in good form and why we're in the position that we're in currently. I think the form guide has us in like 4th and Norwich in 7th. So you can see that we've done very well recently. So just go out and continue that vein of form, really. We've gone away from the defensive that we've been playing for the last couple of games against the big guys in Man City and Liverpool, gone back to our asymmetric formation just to see if we can compete with the likes of Norwich, who have done very, very well this season to finish in 7th. And let's just see how we get on. Aaron's down the right-hand side for Norwich, though. Good opportunity for them early on. And Gallagher I think that is. Yep, Gallagher puts the ball away early in 19 minutes and we go 1-0 down. And I don't care a jot. I just don't care. This is an amazing place to be. Obviously, I'd love to win. Of course I would. But we are Derby County in the Premier League, 12th position, can't lose it. Last day of the season, and I genuinely don't care what happens. Whatever happens today, we will rebuild from this moment for next season and go again and see what happens in the Premier League. And it's utterly mad that we managed to finish basically right in the heart of the mid-table of the Premier League in our first season. So today, we'll just see what happens. But you can see that we're still in the game perfectly happily with 37 minutes gone. We can still give ourselves a chance to go in at half-time, maybe at 1-1 if we get this right. And we build with our controlled possession, And so you can see that we pass it out around well and keep the ball nicely. Nice short passing, simple passing. But we're making them run around a bit and chase the shadows. And then all of a sudden we get it to someone like Loku Doku who can run at the defence into the box. And he has a pot shot where he possibly could have crossed it. And the goalkeeper tips it over the crossbar for a corner kick. But that was our style of play in a nutshell. Simple passing. Then find that attacking threat. And drive at the defence. And then hopefully get a chance. On that occasion it didn't quite work out for us. But we are still in this game perfectly happily. You can see that the statistics for the match have us in far greater possession of the football, which is really good. Not so many chances, but it's about quality of chances, I would suggest. So let's ask them to go and prove a point in this second half. Ask them to come out of their shell a little bit. We might as well go attacking. Why not? Let's go to our attacking gegenpress sort of style of play and really try and take it home to this season and try and get something from this match. We've got literally nothing to lose. So we might as well give it a good go. And that's a lovely move and turn by Noel into the box. Crosses it to the far post, but it was just a little bit too far wide. And Loku Doku couldn't get on the end of it. And we remain at 1-0 down, but we are still driving at them. And look at these attributes of the game have changed a little bit. We've come back into the chances a little bit more in this second half. A decent near post corner kick that was half cleared, but Loku Doku will pick up the loose ball and we'll restart an attack. But that was a poor ball through down that right hand side. We're very fortunate that Story at the back regains possession with no problems really. It could have gone much worse for us at that point, and we reset our side a little bit. And the goalkeeper Bazuna goes into midfield. Eventually Joku with the ball over the top for Noel into the penalty box. Chance! And the goalkeeper parries it. But Ida again picks up the loose ball and still maintains possession. Does a very good job. Gets it into Loku Doku. Another opportunity here. And it's partially cleared again by Norwich. And we lose the defensive header, but Harwood Bellis is there to cover it. And we had a decent chance there with Noel. We're going to just pause the game momentarily on one of their corner kicks, unfortunately. But we're just going to see what needs to be changed. Vera comes out for Silas. Everybody's fit enough to get through to the end of the match. But we've got a couple of low ratings here. Martinez comes out. And we're going to put... what are we going to do? What are we going to do here? We are going to put... Scott into that position, into that attacking midfield position, and then Loku Doku comes out and Murray comes on down that left-hand side, and we're just going to play out for, like that for the remainder of the game in our gegenpress style, and just see whether we can find any way in which we can get a sneaky 1-1 draw out of these last 10-15 minutes. But time is ticking. You can see that still we are competing very happily with Norwich, which is a great thing to see considering how high up the league they've managed to finish this season. So with the right additions in the summer, it looks like time's gone. It has a 1-0 loss, disappointing, but at the end of the day, not important. But with the right additions in the summer, I think we can potentially secure our middle of the Premier League kind of place for next season. I'm not setting too high a standards. This season we were due to be relegated and we finished mid-table. Next season, if we finish in and around that sort of area again, but just continue to look like we're growing as a club, I will be more than happy with that. Tell the boys that their efforts were excellent. I will do that. Second half, I thought we were very, very good. Came back into the game, had many more opportunities for it. But there we go. The Premier League season is done and Derby County finished in a very, very good 12th position. Southampton, Brighton, Villa go down. Man City finished top with Arsenal, Liverpool and Tottenham finishing in the Champions League spots. United and Chelsea for the Euro Cup spots. And I think if I'm not in the running for manager of the year just for getting Derby County in the middle of the Premier League, I think that's unfortunate. I'm not saying we'll win it. Whoever wins the Premier League normally wins it. But I think I've got a good shout for that. I think I've done pretty well. We've received £20 million for finishing 12th, which is brilliant. Let's see if we click through a little bit whether we see what our reward for that is for next season in terms of our budgets for next season. Scouting meetings, look forward to the break, training, and the blah-de-blah. Nothing quite there yet. Is it going to come up soon, or am I going to have to pause momentarily and go and find it? So here we are. Board set initial budgets for next season. £2 million in terms of player wages and a transfer budget of £53 million. And we can definitely do something in that. We'll probably make a couple of sales of some periphery talent. Who knows? Somebody might come in for our bigger players as well. That's not something I can always control. But whatever it is, we've got a reasonable amount of money to go and invest in this squad. 3 players, 4 players maybe to bring in, see whether we can really increase the potential in our starting 11 particularly. But I think that's pretty good. And I think that's a good way to end our season. So there you go, folks. Derby County, Premier League security for next season, £50 million in the transfer budget. A summer awaits in terms of trying to reinvigorate this squad to go again and try and find a way to cement ourselves in this middle table area if we possibly can. If we drop off that slightly, next season is still about avoiding that relegation really and just maintaining our sort of march forward as a club, even whatever the league position has to say about that. As long as we feel we're improving, that's not too bad. But there are clubs sniffing around in terms of talking to me about their positions. So who knows what will happen in terms of these big 6 or so, and whether all of them will be in their positions next season. We'll have to see. But for now, I'm happy to be Derby County manager and absolutely ecstatic at how well we've done this season. Join me for the next episode where we will look back at what I've done in the transfer window and see what we're going to be planning for the coming season and where we think we can finish, and probably playing a game in the early stages of the Premier League. So join me for that. Thanks for joining me today, though. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this series so far, subscribe to the channel. Click that like button so people get to see it more often than not in the searches on YouTube algorithms. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.